And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win? It's December, the last month of the year. Holy crap, we're already here. I don't want to say it felt like 2024 went by quick. And it honestly, it did not feel like it went by quick. And it did not. But once we got to around, I want to say around September, it really felt like time kind of just accelerated a little bit. Like it literally was just November on Saturday. Like, what the hell happened? I have no idea. But now we're only 23 days away from Christmas. Think about that. Holy crap. Anyway, so let's just get it off. It's just a normal week for the next couple weeks. So, coming to us from, what was it? Fatty. We have the question of who would fight, Goku or the Eldrazi from Magic the Gathering. Now, we know Goku. I don't need to go into great detail on Goku. Saiyan, sent to Earth, one of the only survivors of his planet blowing up, being destroyed by Frieza. Trained, became super strong, ultimately became a god-level character in his verse, and is extremely powerful. Master martial artist, ki blast, capable of shaking his own universe and kind of the multiverse, too. He is a multiversal, at least low-tier multiversal level threat. Now, for those of you who are not Magic the Gathering players, a little backstory for the Eldrazi. I don't bring the Eldrazi up much. I think I've done Nicol Bolas versus the Eldrazi, both Magic Gathering characters. And I used to talk about them when I used to do the set reviews for our the spoiler season videos on sets that I don't do anymore. And so within the base, the layman explanation of how Magic the Gathering works is in Magic the Gathering, the card game, which has a huge expansive world and lore. You have the multiverse as it exists in the Magic the Gathering universe, a nigh infinite amount of worlds, planes of existence that exist, have different cultures, different styles, themes, whatever. Well, in between those worlds is basically the what is called the blind eternities, essentially the space between spaces, if you will. What is in between dimensions? And these are beings that, in essence, are born of that chaotic void. This is where they come from. The three Eldrazi Titans, as they're called. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Goku would beat their spawn, their underlings, not even their underlings, their spawn, their lineages, like that. That's not who we're talking about in this fight, and I think we all know it. We're talking about the three Eldrazi Titans. The one in the middle, Emrakul, the mother. The one on the right is Ulamog, I believe he's either called the consumer, or I can't remember. He has another name too. And then Kozilek, who I can never remember Kozilek's name, the one on the left. They're, in essence, Magic the Gathering's equivalent to Lovecraftian horror, particularly Emrakul. But they're basically these eldritch-like beings that came from the void. And as such, they are exceptionally powerful. Honestly, the forms you see of the Eldrazi Titans here are very similar to, weirdly enough in comparison, Pennywise or Eldritch Horror, where that's not really them. That is just a vessel, not a display. That's not the term I'm looking for. It is just a manifestation of their power in reaching into that plane of existence. Now, as of right now, two of these Eldrazi Titans are actually dead. They did, in fact, figure out a way to pull the entirety of that Eldrazi, be it Kozilek and Ulamog, the two, one on the right and the left, into the world they were on, and they were killed. They, in fact, were killed. And a character then comes up and says, I told you to stop him, not kill him. It was like, we had to kill him. No! You have no idea what their purpose is, what the balance is like with them gone. Are you insane? There's a reason I sealed them away, not killed them. So we don't know what the balance, what their purpose really is in life in terms of the great natural order. All we know is that in ascending order, Ulamog is the weakest, the one right here on the right. Kozilek's the second strongest, and Emrakul, the one in the middle, is the strongest. And if you ever look at the cards, the stat line of them makes sense. Ulamog almost always has the lowest stats, like in terms of like attack and defense, if you want to use those terms. Kozilek always has the second to most, and Emrakul always has the highest, no matter what iterations we're looking at these characters in. But that being said, however, each Eldrazi Titan has its own themes and personal abilities. For example, Ulamog being the weakest of the three Titans, is almost always depicted, at least on card form, as being indestructible. Ulamog just can't take damage in the normal sense. Ulamog, though, and its brood, its lineage, are basically the consumers. They consume the land and basically just convert it into this white chalk-like, not even chalk-like, I'm trying to remember, it's like white, almost looking like dead coral-like landscape. And when I say they can ingest anything, I mean they can ingest anything. Physical matter, organic matter, energy, even water turns into this white shell-like stone after the fact. Ulamog is still exceptionally powerful, and big tentacles tend to be a running theme of the design of its lineage and its design. Kozilek is a reality warper. It literally bends the fabric and distorts the fabric of pretty much anything around it, be it space, be it the physical nature. It can distort perception. It can distort your alliances. Literally your mental perceptions. It literally is just capable of warping everything around it. And it's usually, its brood lineage in it are actually depicted more with jagged, triangular, spikes on it. Almost sometimes diamond-like shapes. Ulamog is the most Cthulhu-like of the three, though. Ulamog actually mutates everything around it. And when I mean everything, I don't mean everything organic and biologic, per se. Any creature that's kind of had the will of Ulamog imposed on them and not strong enough to resist it will start to turn into this eldritch horror-like tentacle mass monstrosity. Hell, even plant life will be affected by this. Now, you might be saying, well, Kozilek sounds actually like the strongest one based on its power. And technically that's true, but Ulamog is stronger, A, because it's the only one that actually seems to have that has sentience to it. We've never actually seen if Ulamog or Kozilek actually have anything beyond minor thinking capabilities. They know what their purpose is and they do their purpose. However, Emrakul, again, middle one, actually has a conversation with the character Jace at one point in a mental mindscape. She takes on the form like an angelic individual, because that's actually how in the lore of the world they were sealed on, they were interpreted. They were actually interpreted as angels, not eldritch monster horror. And so Emrakul is actually one that actually is the most intelligent, at least allegedly. We know it has the strongest physical stat line, and it can mutate, living life. So this fight actually simply comes down to hacks versus scaling. That's what this fight comes down to. Because Goku actually, when you break down Goku, yeah, he can teleport, he's got Kaioken, he's got Ki Blast, but these just kind of base level abilities. It's just that they get stacked on top of transformation, on top of transformation, on top of transformation, which raises his power all the way to the point where he threatens not just his own universe, but even other universes with his power. That being said, if we're talking just hacks to hacks, Goku would get his ass handed to him. Or if we're just talking about straight abilities, if we were to scale these guys evenly, Goku would actually get his ass handed to him, probably. Emrakul could literally warp his physiology. I don't think Goku, if they're on an even playing field, Goku's will has to be the thing that resists that. But even so, he's then got to resist reality warping, plus all of his attacks and possibly himself being consumed by Ulamog. So if we're talking ability to ability, hacks to hacks, the Eldrazi actually trump Goku 3-1. But this is where a scaling fight comes into a problem, because we know Goku scales as a multiversal level individual. Hell, just his own universe is like a 1,500 times larger than our own, and he was threatening that just as a Super Saiyan God. So it means his full power is, and that was early Super Saiyan God, not trained stronger Super Saiyan God. Then he's after Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken. We assume, although he's never done it, Ultra Instinct with Kaioken. So it's very likely he is very much strong. Not very likely. It's clear he's far stronger than that punch battle with Beerus that nearly destroyed their universe. So this Goku now would easily probably destroy their universe if he really wanted to. and probably could destroy multiple others in the process as well. He is very much a multiversal level threat. The question simply comes down to, does his multiverse and the level of power he's exerting to destroy said multiverse scale to the Eldrazi and how the multiverse is interpreted in Magic the Gathering? This is a difficult question to ask because we've never really, I don't hear a lot of power scaling when it comes to Magic the Gathering. First off, the multiverse, while seemingly infinite, is, as far as I know, not infinite. It's near infinite. Like, there is, I think, a finite number of planes, but because of the way lore and works and, imagination works, we're never really going to run out of planes ever, really, period. But the point is that there, I think, is still a finite number of planes. But let's just assume for a minute that there isn't. Goku has actually threatened infinite spaces before. What was it? Not the void. The dimension where the Tournament of Power took place in. I can't remember. Is it the World of Void? Is that what it's called? Where that's just an infinite nothingness, and Goku was actually shaking it when he powered up the Ultra Instinct the first time. Well, not the first time, but it was the first time. And like the second time when he fought Jiren, he just roared, and it just shook the entire. Like, he can shake infinite spaces. So Goku, in theory, scales to some level of infinite plus of some kind, whatever that infinite plus is. But again, I say the planes in the multiverse of Magic because the Eldrazi come from the Blind Eternities, which permeates all of this. Now, we don't know what really the Blind Eternities really constitute. That's not the right word. What is within the Blind Eternity itself, if anything? Does it have its own worlds or whatever? We know which set is it? It's not Aether Drift and it's not Cons. It's the next one after that. I cannot remember the name of the new set, but there is a space opera set coming, which is supposed to take place on the edge of the Blind Eternities. So we are probably getting a better look of the concepts there, and that after the fact, that's not the right term. We're probably going to be getting a better idea of the Blind Eternity, or at least some level of the Blind Eternity in that set. But until then, I got to treat it as just like, a void of either nothingness or just turmoil, chaos, whatever. I say all this because I feel like if we're talking hacks to hacks, it's the Eldrazi. But when you scale them, it's probably Goku. Because the planes in the multiverse, like say, for those of you who know Magic at all, Ravnica, which is a giant citywide plane, the planes themselves are both a planet and beyond. But the problem is we've never actually known how far beyond the plane actually exists. We know they all have suns, and stars usually, so they have to have at least solar systems and galaxies to them. So there's that, but destroying, say, Ixalan, which is this very tropical, kind of Mesoamerican with dinosaurs, island pirate hopping, like all that kind of pirate hopping, but you know what I mean, with pirates kind of plane. If the Eldrazi came, ate that plane, are they eating all the stars in the galaxy too? Like, I don't think that's quite how that works. I think like that plane and then everything else that exists out there, that plane is like that planet plane is gone, but everything else still exists beyond that. Kind of like how when the Phyrexians invade a different Magic group, which are basically convert and control kind of thing, metal and flesh melded together. When those characters meet or take over a plane, the world molds with it, but it's not. But the sun, for example, stays the same. Like nothing changes beyond that per se. There are also universes that do have multiple suns too, but it's depicted that those are more magically inclined. So it's possible, for example, that maybe the sun and the moon are a bit more magically inclined. The moon, for example, in Innistrad seem to have been depicted as being a lot closer than the moon in our world, for example. So it's tough to say. What I can say, though, is that if we're talking about scaling, The reason I think Goku wins on the scaling issue is because of just what he can do with his actual level of power. Goku can actually just destroy a universe with his straight power if he really wanted to, just by exerting it, if he knew a method to exert it properly. For example, him and Beerus' power jettisoned outward. Like, the power was so great, it literally just started tearing apart the universe. And Goku obviously is like millions of times stronger at this point. So if Goku really wanted to, yeah, he could destroy a universe on his own power. That is the immediate fundamental problem with the Eldrazi, and really any Magic character. None of them can just destroy a plane on their own power in one go. None of them can one-shot a plane. A plane of existence does seem to be depicted as being smaller, much smaller than a universe, even a regular universe. Even if we are factoring in galaxies, all that, it still seems to be smaller than, say, the foreseeable universe. Whereas the Dragon Ball universe is much bigger than our normal universe. So just scaling him beyond, so he's already multiple planes stronger than the Eldrazi just by like powering up and the level of power he represents. The Eldrazi work in tandem with each other. Emrakul, Ulamog destroys the land. Kozilek reshapes it, and then Emrakul seeds it with new life, more or less. That's in essence what they do. But not one of them on their own actually can destroy a plane on their own just by flexing their full power. As far as we can tell, it was never once shown if they could do that or not. In fact, it's implied that they can't, because they've been pushed back before by mildly powerful sorcerers or whatnot. They're also arguably not even the biggest threat in the multiverse. When Nico Bolas, the dragon god, not dragon god, but the dragon wizard, who I brought up briefly before, I think I brought this up in the fight, but when they were unsealed from their prison, this was actually by design by Bolas, who basically didn't find them a big enough threat to be concerned. Like, he probably kept an eye on them to be sure, but he felt confident, he clearly felt confident that he could take them on. So, sorry, I got like a smudge on my glasses. So, if someone like that, who would still probably lose in a scaling war to Goku, feels confident enough that he could take them on, then there's no reason to believe that Goku, who, again, scales much higher than any of those characters, would win in a fight against these three. Again, if it's hacks to hacks, even power levels, Goku would lose that fight. But that's just it. It's not even power levels. Goku's power, quite frankly, in a singular being, if you were to throw him into the Magic world, would pretty much beat down the Magic world. Yes, he doesn't have any real resistances to magic. So if someone's smart enough to try to get in his head or use like some sort of manipulation of something, then maybe it would do something. But Goku literally can speed blitz the entirety of this world without thinking. And is strong enough to break a planet in half with his finger if he wants to. So none of these characters really stand that much of a chance. Ulamog is ironically being the weakest one of them. Ulamog's actually the toughest one I think to take down, because he is indestructible and can consume even energy to convert it into different types of matter. That being said, indestructible is relative. That's just on the cards. As far as I know, it's never been said if he's indestructible in the lore. The cards usually are a good representation of the lore, but something like Exile works on cards. Exiling is different than destroying. And Goku, at least in the manga, has attempted the Hakai before, so I would still say he beat Ulamog. He would just wail on him for a while until he either gave up, ran away, or whatever. Ulamog and Kozilek, he could just, I think, straight out destroy. I think you straight up beat it. But I digress. I think I went on way too long for this one, quite frankly. But I would go Goku in this fight again. I think he just scales much higher than the Eldrazi do. But that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.